everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this week's edition of HeatPressNation's Facebook Live.
That's right. My name is Esteban. This is Jared. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in today.
And just to give you a little bit of background on us before we start, I work here in the technical support department, and I also help manage our social media. And Esteban here works in our customer service and sales department. So chances are, if you've called in for support or with any questions, you've probably talked to one of us or another member of our great team that we have here.
Yes, that's right. While we're on the subject of Facebook Live, if this is your first time joining us, we like to do something special around here. I'm talking about contests, I'm talking about giveaways. So at the end of today's Facebook Live, we'll be announcing the winner from last week's contest. But they can still enter into this week's drawing, right?
Right, so this week's drawing is already open. You can go ahead and click the like, click the share button here on this video. Share it with all your friends. We want to get as many people in on this contest as possible. They can like and share for a chance to win. And then we'll be announcing the winner of this week's prize pack at the end of next week's broadcast.
Yes, that's right. And I also want to mention to you guys, if you haven't already, please take the time to check a look at our Facebook group, HeatPressNation Creators, moderated by the experts like Jared, like myself, and it's a really great avenue for peer support as well. You'll see heat press users across all sorts of different walks of life, from industry veterans to novices. So it's really useful stuff to get a hold of.
Yeah, and it looks like we already have some people commenting here on Facebook. Shout out to Art Nieves joining us again. I remember seeing you last week. It's good to see you guys again. Everybody, if you want to shout us out, we're so glad to have you guys here joining us. And speaking of the comments, if you guys have any questions at all at any point in today's broadcast, go ahead and put your questions in the comments. We're going to do our very best to get to as many as we can live on the air. We also have our buddy Anderson, who's going to be helping us out moderate the comments, so he'll be posting links, answering some questions as well. And then whatever we don't get to on the air, we're going to be, me and Esteban both, hopping in the comment section immediately after the video to answer, again, anything we might not have gotten to on the air.
Yes, and that's right. And we want to remind you guys about our hashtag, HPN Creators. Use this on your Twitter, use this on your Instagram. We love to see the beautiful works of art you guys are creating out there. So HPN Creators across all social media, hashtag.
Okay, well, I am super excited to announce the title for today's broadcast. So let's take a look. Heat presses versus hand irons. So I'm here with Team Heat Press.
I'm representing Team Hand Iron, and today we are going toe-to-toe, head-to-head in a battle royal to the finish.
Awesome. So I think we're ready for our first round.
So round one is going to be advantages. So we're going to be going over the different strengths of not just the hand iron, but as well as the heat press. I'll take the lead on this one, guys. I want to tell you about some of the awesome advantages of using a hand iron for heat transfers. First and foremost, I would definitely say cost. We were able to get this awesome hand iron locally at a store for less than $50. They get entry-level ones closer to the $20 point. We saw some upwards of $100, but this one here was very economical to get into, and it was also easy to source. So something like this you could find at your local Walmart, Target, home supply store. And definitely some of the advantages here. And then I would say the main advantage of the hand iron over the heat press is this compact size. Storage solutions for something like this, I definitely got the advantage in this case with my hand iron.
Right on, right on. Well, representing Team Heat Press, some of the advantages of using a heat press are that you're going to be able to have consistent temperature and pressure. So you can see here, we have our digital computer gauge on here. We can set exactly what temperature we have here. You can see that the timer is already counting down. So it's a built-in timer. That way it removes the guesswork out of whatever you're doing. That's one of the main advantages to having a heat press. Another advantage of having a heat press is that you're able to do high pressure items. So like heat transfer paper, for example, it presses at a higher pressure, requires a higher pressure than heat transfer vinyl. So if you need heat transfer paper to be done, you can just increase the pressure. We have an adjustable pressure knob here, as you'll see with any heat press that you have. So that way you can get to those other items that require the higher pressure. Yeah, so there we go. Those are some of the main advantages for the heat press, and you'll be seeing a lot more what I'm talking about as far as the consistent pressure and temperature are concerned.
Well, that was a pretty close one here. You know, we got more rounds to go into this fight, so we'll see who comes out of this one on top. But let's go ahead and get to our second round.
Okay, so now we're talking about disadvantages, and I'm actually going to go first in this round. So some of the disadvantages to having a heat press are just going to be the weight of it. So this heat press, this is a 15-inch by 15-inch HPN Signature Series heat press. It does come with a really cool slide-out drawer, very important for not burning your knuckles. But you know, this heat press is about 65 pounds. Another disadvantage, if we're being totally honest, is that it does take up a pretty good portion of our counter space here compared to, you know, the smaller portion of the hand iron. One more thing, it is another disadvantage. If you want to look at it this way, you could look at it as an investment. But another disadvantage is going to be that it's going to be more expensive. So while we have heat presses, and I'm definitely not trying to sound like an infomercial here, but we do carry heat presses, all budget types, but even the most affordable heat press is still going to be more expensive than, you know, your standard hand iron.
Well, that was the heat press side of the disadvantages. Let's take a look at some of the disadvantages of my hand iron here. You know, first and foremost, I would definitely say, you know, one of the main disadvantages is going to be my heat surface area. I mean, in comparison to this 15 by 15 Signature Series slide-out drawer heat press available at HeatPressNation.com, I'm working with a significantly diminished heat surface area. This looks about, you know, at its largest dimensions, maybe 8 by 4, so it's not going to be quite on par with something like that. I would definitely say second, consistent pressure is going to be probably my main disadvantage after the surface size. Where this machine has an adjustable pressure knob where we can go for light, medium, or heavy pressure. This one is really going to depend on, you know, the exertion of the user, which brings me to my final disadvantage. I mean, the ease of use of something like this, I don't know if you guys got a chance to notice, the Signature Series comes equipped with a gas shock hydraulic in the opening and closing mechanism. So, you know, that's definitely going to be ease of use. Whereas with my hand iron, I'm looking at exerting, you know, full amount of strength to achieve whatever pressure the medium calls for the entire time of the press. So, you know, physical exertion on this is probably going to be another main disadvantage, unfortunately.
Right, right. Now, before we get to our next round, we do want to pause and say that if you're just joining us, don't forget about our contest. We run a contest every week. We do giveaways every week. And this week, we're going to be, well, we'll show you what we're giving away in a second. But the contest is open now. Feel free to like and share this video. And don't forget, if you liked and shared last week's video, you are entered into the giveaway that we'll be announcing at the end of this broadcast. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And man, that was a pretty good round. I think we're ready for, we got a couple more. You got some more rounds in you?
You know what? I got enough for you, Jared. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Okay, so for this one, next round, we're going to be doing some actual live demonstrations. First up, we're going to be working with heat transfer vinyl. Now, for this live demonstration, I'm going to be using a Caesar Easy Weed. Caesar Easy Weed is actually compatible with the heat iron, hand iron. There are instructions on the CaesarNorthAmerica.com website we'll be following for this transfer coming up. So we have our vinyl transfer already gone ahead and cut, so let's go ahead and get started. You ready?
Let's do this. So now, as you know, as Esteban mentioned, we pulled these instructions that we're using today directly from the Caesar website. So we're using the exact same t-shirts, and I'll move mine out of the way here. But we're going to be using the exact same t-shirts with the exact same product, Caesar Easy Weed. We're using the exact same cut, the exact same size transfer, cut off the same roll. So we're keeping everything as even as possible. The only difference is going to be our application methods. So we see here we have Esteban laying down his vinyl, and I'm bringing up right now my stopwatch. You say, why a stopwatch? Well, when it comes to transferring Caesar Easy Read vinyl onto a t-shirt, you're going to want to go ahead and, of course, we're going to put our vinyl down, then we're going to put our parchment paper down to cover it over, our cover sheet, and then finally we're going to be pressing it in 15-second increments until we've covered the entire surface of the transfer. And again, these instructions are directly from the Caesar website.
That's right. So we got our temperature set up here to our linen and cotton setting. This is going to be the highest setting available on my hand iron. It doesn't tell me conclusively what temperature I'm working on, so I'll go off of this setting and try and see what we can make happen here. So I'm going to go ahead and begin transferring this.
Okay, and start. So we're doing 15-second increments, and you'll notice that Stefan's putting significant pressure on the heat press. The reason for that is good pressure is essential to a good heat press. I know sometimes when you're doing a heat press, and can you see the clock here?
I can see it. We're about 15 seconds, so I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the next section of the transfer. We're going to do these 15 seconds at a time, and let's go.
Yeah, so it's important to get good pressure. If you don't have good pressure, your vinyl may appear to stick at first, but after you wash it, it's going to start peeling away. Almost every time we have customers calling tech support because the vinyl's peeling, it's because there wasn't enough pressure. 15, go ahead and go to the next one.
Go to the next section.
And go. There we go. So while he's doing that, Cynthia Barefoot, no comparison. Well, we'll see. That's the whole point of today's broadcast. We wanted to give an objective look at heat presses versus hand irons. Allison Churchbird, this looks so awesome. Thank you so much. We got a great broadcast coming on today. Oh, 16 seconds. A little over. That's good. You can't really overpress it.
We got just a couple more sections to do. I think I can finish this off in about 2 more presses. At this point now, we're going up close to a minute on this, and I still got 1 more section to go. As I mentioned earlier, my heat surface area is a lot smaller, so I'm doing this in segments so that I can achieve the correct temperature and pressure across my whole transfer. Let's go ahead and do this final section here.
Okay, here, you need help with the pressure? I'll help you out. I got you. I got you.
You're the wind beneath my wings.
Teamwork to make the dream work, guys. No, but seriously, you do want to have good pressure throughout the entire surface of your transfer. We got 15 seconds.
Okay. All right.
That was fun, huh?
I've had fun and I've had worse.
Okay. Gonna peel it away. Let's go ahead and
this is a hot peel, so we're gonna go ahead and remove the carrier sheet and let's take a look and see how this transfer holds up. Oh my goodness.
Now, according to, let's go ahead and put that back down. Let's go ahead and put the carrier back down. Now, according to the Caesar site, if your vinyl starts to lift, you can go ahead and, I think we might have messed that part up. Anyways, and we're not throwing this. This is really, if you look at CaesarNA.com, if any part of the vinyl starts to lift, probably should have peeled out a little bit slower. What you do is you just, as soon as it starts to lift, you just put it back down, and then you're going to re-hit that part for another 10 to 15 seconds. Some people have shared that they are pressing it for 30 second sections, just to be sure that it does transfer properly. That's entirely up to you. But again, we wanted to show you guys how it looks, how it works when you follow the instructions to a T. I don't know, maybe you need to go to the gym a little more, Stefan? I'm not sure.
I could definitely spend a little more time there, but let's do this.
Says a guy who hasn't been to the gym in a year, right? Okay, so we're going to go, Stefan, you can see he's really straining to get that good pressure on there.
Let's try the next section here.
I'm going to repress that. And so pressure, again, this is why, it might sound simple, consistent temperature and pressure, but this is exactly what we're talking about. In order to get you can't really get consistent pressure on a hand iron just because you're going small increments, and it's entirely dependent on the user. Stefan, he's a strapping young chap, he got some good muscles there, good gym work, and still, you can see there's a little bit of strain there. You want to make sure that that you are exerting enough pressure to get your transfer.
Let's take another look.
Let's see. It looks a little better. Let's try to peel from the top down. Let's see. And let's go a little slower to make sure.
So this one is staying on a little more across the transfer than the first pass. And that's not terrible.
Yeah, actually looks good. Another thing that you can do is once you're done, if you feel like you still need to press it one more time, you can put the silicone sheet back on and repress it. Again, in 15 to 20 second increments across the entire surface. So that's going to do it for the hand iron. It's the heat press's turn. So looks like we got some comments coming up. I'm going to go ahead and set up my transfer over here.
All right.
And let's get this done.
Okay, so Robin, the iron is not going to work for me. It takes way too long to iron. It is going to be a noticeable time difference doing it manually with something like the hand iron. For quicker transfers, I would probably give the nod to this just because the recommended time and temperature is on paper a lot less time and a lot less effort. Nora, he is helping with the pressure. When we're at work, he helps relieve some of my pressure. So, this is definitely my partner in arms. Great comrade to have.
Okay, so I'm gonna just press it really quick for 15 seconds, which is Caesar recommends 10 to 15 seconds on a heat press. So we're just gonna go for a 15, just to make sure that we got it good. 305 degrees, which is the standard. Go ahead and open this up. And some of you guys may notice that I did forget my piece of parchment paper. My sincere apologies. I'm just so excited to be heat pressing today. But we'll use it for the next one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and this is a hot peel. We're going to go ahead and move that over one smooth motion. And I think I could have done like 4 of these in the time it took a step on to do one. So actually we're going to lay these side by side just so you can see now. Now it is very possible. Of course, we're heat press nation. We're not hand iron nation, so we have a little bit more experience with the heat presses. But it is very possible to get a good transfer done with your hand iron. You almost on camera you probably can't even tell the difference between the two. And the truth is that people who are seeing you on the street wearing these T-shirts, they probably won't know the difference either. But you, the user who's actually having to press these things, you'll definitely know the difference. How do you feel? Do you feel like doing a dozen of those shirts?
I don't feel like doing half a dozen of those shirts. If you are looking to do something for a small group or a team or kids' classrooms, things like that, from a time point of view, you can kind of see where the better choice is going to be between that. But my concern, Jared, is what's my longevity going to be like using something like the hand iron to do my heat transfers compared to the heat press?
Well, one good way to know that you have good pressure, and it's all going to be about the pressure. So your longevity could technically be as long as a heat press transfer if you're able to if you really press the heck out of it. Mm-hmm. One way to know that you have a good transfer is when you're working with heat transfer vinyl is, and you probably won't be able to get this on camera, but if you look really close, you should see an imprint of the t-shirt threads or the fibers through the vinyl, through the top. So if you're looking at it, you should kind of be able to see like an imprint through the vinyl. If you don't see that, chances are you did not press hard enough. So it might have been enough pressure for it to stick initially, but after you wash it, that section is gonna start to peel away.
Something to consider if you are using your heat transfers for commercial purposes. You want your product to be long lasting. Just some food for thought there. Guys, we got some questions coming in. As we mentioned earlier, we're gonna be trying to get to as many of these as we can during the broadcast. For anything we do not address, Jared and I will personally be going in there, tag teaming those questions for you guys. But I got one coming in from Art here.
Cool.
Now, Art wants to know, do you have to use the sheet, or is it cool to just press without it?
If you're using a hand iron, I would suggest using the sheet just because sometimes, there's a couple of reasons why. The main reason is because sometimes hand irons, they have like, you want to turn your steam off, by the way, make sure there's no steam or water in your iron. But sometimes they have that little residue, and honestly, Caesar suggests it. And so they're the professionals. They're the ones who have all the R&D behind this vinyl. They suggest using the cover sheet. So that's why we do it. I, of course, you see here, I got a decent press. It's totally slipped my mind to put the cover sheet on. You see that it came out fine. One of the big reasons why we always use a cover sheet on a heat press is because I work in technical support, so I've had customers call in and say, "Hey, my vinyl's stuck to my heating element," and I'm like, "Oh, it's because it goes in backwards." So that cover sheet, it serves a lot of purposes. Upside down vinyl is one of them. But if you're doing like sublimation or inkjet heat transfers, sometimes the ink or a transfer can kind of seep out from under the area, and it can get stuck to your upper platen, and then you're going to stain every shirt after that on your heat press. So the cover sheet, just a little bit of extra insurance. It goes a long way. Because eventually, let's say you do a great job 99.99% of the time. Yeah. That means that on your 1000th shirt, something's going to go wrong, and you would hate to ruin your heat press for that. So that's why we use the cover sheets.
Yeah, so something like a pro-grade non-stick sheet or a roll of our pro-grade parchment paper will really extend the life of your machine. We also find that'll give us more even transfers as well as protect against burns and singes, right?
Yes, that's true as well, yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, we saw how the heat transfer vinyl went down. I think the jury's still out on this fight as to who the clear-cut winner is going to be. We got one more round to duke it out with. Are you ready for this?
Let's do it.
Okay, so for our next round, we're going to be doing another live demonstration. Up next, we have heat transfer paper. So I'm going to go first on this one and try and see what I can make happen with my heat iron set to the hottest settings. There actually are not hand iron instructions for the product we're going to be using. For today's demonstration, we are going with Nina Jet Pro Soft Stretch. This is one of our favorite transfer papers to use. So I'll be trying to see what my best is with the hand iron. We're going to wait for our signature series to cook up to about 350 degrees, right, Jared?
375. So for Nina Jet Pro Soft Stretch, we're going to be pressing that at 375 degrees. So we're actually going to let our hand iron guys go first. One of the advantages of the hand iron is that it does heat up pretty quick, faster than a heat press. And of course, we're not too sure if it's at 375, so we're just going to max it out, and we're going to hope for the best. Now, one cool thing about the transfer that you're going to see today, we're using Nina Jet Pro Soft Stretch. That's actually what we're going to be giving away. So we have 3 packs of Nina Jet Pro Soft Stretch. We're giving away to 3 separate winners. So be sure to like and share this post. We're giving away a full pack of 50 sheets, 8.5 by 11, just like what you're seeing us use here live today. We're giving that away, so make sure you like and share. This stuff is the best. It has a really soft wash after you wash it out. I'm a big fan. So we're gonna press it today. We're gonna go with our hand iron first, and let's see how it goes. I think we have a couple more questions.
We got
some
awesome comments. I want to give a big shout out to Charlene. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope everyone's enjoying the broadcast. Actually, we got a question coming in from Ann. Well, before I get started here, Ann's asking for a quick definition on sublimation.
So, real quick, sublimation, and you know what? I'm going to give Anderson a couple minutes to track down that link. So if you stay tuned in the comments, we're going to ask Anderson to go ahead and put a link in there. He's going to track it down for us for our introduction to sublimation video. But in a nutshell, sublimation is a specialized printing process. So you have your printer, which we love the Sawgrass SG400. You have your specialized printer, paper, and ink. It's all specialized for sublimation. Whatever you print out, you place it onto, you could sublimate a shirt. So when you heat press it to a shirt, to a coffee mug, to a photo panel, whenever you heat press it to something, the heat turns the ink into a gas. And then the pressure presses that gas into the surface of your substrate or whatever it is that you're pressing. So you're literally dyeing the surface of it. That means that your mugs can go to the dishwasher 100, 500, 1,000 times and not fade away. They're scratch resistant. The t-shirts that you make, they are going to be 100% polyester for sublimation, but the t-shirts that you make, they're going to last forever. They feel extremely soft. Feels better than any screen print. It's just ultra soft on the shirt. You don't even know it's there. But yeah, that's a quick overview on sublimation. So let's go ahead and get started with our transfer. Now we're going to go for 30 seconds.
30 seconds a section.
30 seconds every section. So I'm going to open up my stopwatch here, and let's have some fun with this.
All right,
Esteban?
let's start the clock.
Let's do it. Okay, so now Esteban's going at it, 30-second sections, and this is gonna be kind of tough. I don't think you have to go to the gym this weekend.
I'm definitely getting in my gym time right now, I'd like to think, but we'll see how this transfer goes. I might need to get some more curls in to see how, depending on this works.
Yeah, so I mean, you don't really have to sell it, but like, how much fun are you having?
I've had more fun.
He's had more fun. All right, we're coming up. You got about 3 seconds left.
Okay.
And you can see here, so especially after our last, okay, there we go. Especially after our last attempt at the heat transfer vinyl, now we're kind of even more encouraged, like, hey, let's really get some pressure. So you can see his step, and I can see him kind of straining there, to get it on there. You're gonna want your best results possible. So if this is you, if you guys are having you guys want to hand iron some of this, you're really committed to the iron, more power to you guys. You don't need to go to the gym. You can just heat press some stuff. Let's go. You got about 5 seconds left or so, and we're just gonna let him heat press that. All right. Next section, and you're gonna want to make sure that you get full coverage, especially for heat transfer paper. Starting. Oh, we'll start.
That's cool.
Yeah, so one thing while he's doing that, we do want to plug our YouTube channel. Go over there to youtube.com/HeatPressNation. We have tons of helpful videos on how to use the Jet Pro Soft Stretch. We have videos, we have silhouette cameo tutorials. We have videos to show you how to use your heat press, how to get the most out of your heat press. really helpful stuff. I highly encourage you, if you're new to the industry, 4 seconds, if you're new to the industry, and you want to get some kind of insider information before you make your purchase, it'll be invaluable to you to go ahead and visit our YouTube channel. Once again, YouTube.com/HeatPressNation. We got a couple more presses on here. I'm going to grab the iPad here. Let's go ahead and check for some questions while we're pressing. We got about 15 seconds.
We got some time. I feel like I'm going to be here a while, ladies and gentlemen.
And Lyndon says, sublimation equals science. Yes, it's funny, if you Google sublimation, you're going to get a lot of science pages before you get to the actual, garment customization pages. You got 2 seconds left here. There we go.
All right, let's do the next section.
Oh, we got 2 more sections. All right.
Yeah. So at this point, we're about, a couple minutes into this. I'm not done yet. The physical effort that we mentioned earlier being one of the disadvantages, you're seeing a little bit here. The consistent temperature and time, we'll see how that comes out on the final product, but definitely taking a little bit longer than, what was the recommended time for this on a heat press, Jared?
When we take it to the heat press, it's gonna be 30 seconds.
Awesome.
So we got a couple more seconds here, almost done and good.
Okay, so we got one last section. Give me 30 seconds.
There you go. All right, so he's on his last section, and you can see he's straining here. I would help him out, but I'm kind of tired. No, but really, Jamie Silver Pollard asks, so with this paper, you can print with a regular inkjet printer? Yes, you can. We printed this. We have an Epson Artisan 1430 that we have here in the office. So we printed just a regular, inkjet printer. If you have, most Canons and HPs are going to be inkjet. You want to double check before purchasing the paper. But that's really what it's going to be. So 30 seconds, all right.
Okay.
And so you can see, and once again, Esteban, whew, we're going to have a little sweat there.
I'm okay.
Esteban, like I said before, I'm not saying this to flatter him. He's a strong dude, and Okay, so let's finish this here. You'll notice that what we do is when we finish the JetPro soft stretch, we give it a little stretch, and that's to help it work into the shirt, increases washability and softness. We peel it hot, nice, smooth, even motion. And let's see how we did.
For the most part, this doesn't look that bad. Towards the end here, I can see a little bit of inconsistency in this last part. I don't have the full color consistency at the bottom. The paper's actually coming up a little bit on that last section there.
Yeah, I guess, and that's something that's important to mention. It's hard to tell if you're giving it consistent pressure all over or not. You can see it's just a tiny little, not even a 1/4 inch little sliver right there on the edge. It's really hard to tell if you're just looking at it and hand pressing it, whether or not whether he missed it or not. When you're there pressing, you really can't tell until the product is done. One more thing I want to show you guys here. Right here, you'll see a little, it didn't transfer properly right here. But this upper part came out beautifully. And that kind of makes sense because there's such a thing called user fatigue. So right here, he came in strong, he's ready, he's pressing. By the time he gets up here to the last set of presses, it's tiring, and so, if you're not into this, if you don't want to be really killing yourself for something, you might not want to use your hand iron for a transfer. Now, is it possible? We've proven it totally is. But let's go ahead and, let's see how it looks now with the heat press. So let's go ahead, if you want to go ahead and take some questions. We got about, we're up to temperature. Awesome.
Fantastic.
Let's do it.
I do have a question coming in from Debbie. Do you ever get scorched spot on the shirt? Depending on what sort of medium you're working with and what sort of product, that is something that can occur from time to time. I think we mentioned a little bit earlier the use of something like a pro-grade parchment paper or a pro-grade nonstick sheet. That'll really help give you more consistent and even transfers, as well as protect against those burns and scorches. Both those products are available at HeatPressNation.com.
All right, so I gave this a little pre-press, just so we can have it nice and ironed, so we can see it. I'm laying down my JetPro soft stretch, right? In this case, I am going to put down a piece of parchment paper over it. Now, before I press it, like we mentioned before, we do have adjustable pressure here on the Signature Series heat press. So heat transfer vinyl takes about a medium pressure. Heat transfer paper, you're going to want a higher pressure. So real quick here, I'm just going to do a quick stamp. Let's see. Okay, that feels good. So I'm going to go ahead and go all the way with this now. locking in that high pressure for about 30 seconds.
That's right. So we got another question here. Candia, you have the Artisan 1430. Do we sell the paper that would be able to print on and use with a heat press for mugs or plates or teas? For the 1430, we have awesome heat transfer paper for clothing, but for something like mugs or plates, you might want to consider sublimation. We'll go on more of that in just a moment.
There we go. Okay, so we got that high pressure on there. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out. And there's no like TV magic. We didn't have finished transfers waiting backstage for us here. We just have the real life stuff pressing live for you guys today. So again, I'm gonna do that little tug to increase the stretchability here. And let's go ahead and give it a nice solid peel. And there we go. And actually, I'm in love. That looks great. So I'm going to bring this over here. Just set on. You can fix that for me, you don't mind?
Absolutely.
Turn our heat press off. We don't need it. It's kind of hot up here anyway. So man, I love this. So you can clearly see we have nice, smooth, even coverage, even coloring. I love it. It looks great. So if you're walking down the street, you might not notice the inconsistencies here. Well, you probably would notice that right there.
Yeah, the paper looks like it kind of didn't even transfer entirely on this corner portion here. But I mean, as I touch yours here, this seems like it's fully one with the fabric. I mean, that color block, there's no gradient, there's no specks of the white fabric coming through like you see a little bit at the bottom portion of my example. It came out beautiful, Jared.
Yeah, thank you. So now, even if these had come out identical, you saw the process required to get it pressed, with the hand iron. And so if that's not really your thing, if you're not into doing, 20 shirts just like that, then, a heat press, consistent temperature, consistent pressure, I'm telling you guys, that's the key to get great products for your heat transfer. So that's going to do it. We've gone 4 rounds toe-to-toe. It's been a pretty tough battle. Much respect to my opponent. Much respect, hopefully, for me a little bit. Maybe not. But we've had a great fight, so we're gonna actually leave this to the judges to announce the winner.
And the winner is
Heat press. Thank you so much, guys. Oh man, it was a tough battle, but we stuck it out and we got it done there. So really, guys, thank you guys so much. By the way, this is Anderson here. So if you've been following us for the past couple of weeks, Anderson's always there. He's moderating the comments, posting up helpful links, and just overall just being a great guy, helping us with these Facebook Live broadcasts. Shout out to the rest of our crew who makes these possible. And yeah, great job. Thanks, dude.
Thank you, Andy, as always. All right, well, that was a great battle, but, I got to give it to the victor. Congratulations on a hard-fought win. I think we really saw, what came out on top here. Want to mention the contest again for you guys. Haven't entered yet, please take the time, like the video, share the video, and then you guys have a chance to win some of the awesome prizes we'll be announcing next week. But what about those entries from last week? Should we announce some winners?
Dude, let's do it. So, just a reminder, last week we were talking about Silhouette Cameo, and if you want to look for these videos, you can find them on our Facebook, you can find them on our YouTube. They're there for you to watch again if you want to kind of reference back to what we talked about. But last week we were giving away a Silhouette Cameo accessory package to one lucky winner. So we're gonna go ahead and I can't pick a piece of paper with a boxing glove. So
I'll help you this one time, champ.
My HPN boxing glove.
All right, are you guys ready? Who's ready for a winner? All right, let's do this. Janu Jan, congratulations, you're a winner. Fantastic. To all of those who also entered, I want to thank you guys so much for participating. Please enter this contest. You may have a chance to win next week's drawing. As always, if any questions we did not get to during today, we'll be going through in the comments after personally, Champion and myself, and answering those for you.
We're all winners here, man. Thank you. Yeah, so once again, we do want to pitch our Facebook group, and not just for the sake of joining it, but really, guys, there's so much helpful people. There's so many helpful people in there. You have it's moderated by the pros, me, Esteban, the rest of our crew here at HeatPressNation. But there's lots of people from all experience levels. You have beginners, intermediates, and you have the industry veterans that are going to be chiming in, helping out, offering you their expertise.
That's right. And as always, we'd love to see what you guys are doing out there. So please use the hashtag HPN Creators across all social media. For those of you who were able to enter into this week's drawing, we're going to be giving away 3 sample packs of Nina Jet Pro Soft Stretch.
Complete packs of Nina Jet
Complete
Pro
pack.
Soft.
Oh wow!
We're giving away the
50
full
packs.
the 50 pack,
oh wow!
guys.
Fantastic! Right on,
So
right on.
8.5 by 11 Jet Pro Soft Stretch. 1 pack or 3 packs going out. 3 different winners. So next week our contest will be drawing 3 names. So make sure you like and share in order to enter the contest.
That's right. And if any of you guys have any questions about any of the materials, equipment that we've gone over today, please feel free to give us a call at 1-800-215-0894 or visit us at HeatPressNation.com.
And we'd love to see what you guys are working on, so please feel free to use the hashtag HPN Creators on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is that you're on. We want to see what you guys are using your machines for. We want to see what great creative projects you guys are working on. So hashtag HPN Creators.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you tune in next time, and we'll see you again.
We'll see you guys.